before Columbus, and thousands of years before Jesus Christ. In many cases, these blacks and other indigenous nations established thriving civilizations in ancient America. Queen Califia and the California blacks were one such ancient black nation. Reigning over the Empire of Eleven, in the ancient kingdom of Utla, the nation of Atlan, was the great Queen of Gold and Diamonds, ruler of the California blacks. Queen Califia, decorated warrior general, mother, was the grand and beautiful royal leader in the beloved, wealthy, and powerful land of the blacks. A civilization with an abundance of natural resources, gold, diamonds, vast quantities of precious stones and metals, with territory spanning thousands and thousands of miles throughout California. From the coast of San Francisco to Bahia, Mexico, as far inland as Colorado, Utah, and all the Pacific Ocean island nations including Hawaii and Australia. Places where most of the original inhabitants were Aborigine, black, and brown people of color. Queen Califia was a powerful general queen, a strategic opponent, who commanded and maintained a fleet of ships while ushering in a time of peace in all surrounding lands. The robust California blacks were master trainers and lovers of exotic animals with developed skills. They were able to teach themselves to defend, utilizing a real force of domesticated and trained griffins and eagles, snakes, tigers, and bears. Along with other species native to California and Africa, these unusual creatures were trained to protect the land and its people. So loved, respected, and powerful was the queen, she could project her imperial rule over the seas of the Mediterranean. A master of communication and commerce, trading gold-tipped spears, gold, diamonds, precious stones, furs, food, plants, rare birds and animals, as well as maintaining cultural and trading contacts with Africa, Australia, and the Pacific Islands. This great lady ruler also successfully defended her empire during wars in the Mediterranean Sea and Anatolia, as well as against the Byzantine Empire and in southern Europe. Queen Califia and the mighty empire of the California blacks, a people whose civilization and history has been lost to time and space through a deliberate destructive conspiracy of lies, secrets, and deaths perpetrated by evil invaders of ancient America. To say they came before Columbus is an understatement.
California Black Indigenous Queen Califia depicted in cave art.
The goddess Califia in cave art. Now this is very, very old when you're going back to cave paintings. And the tradition of the goddess Califia, and she was always pictured as black. She was a black lady. And this is also interesting when we look at Scripture, and this is a possibility. We can't say it for a certainty, but when we think about the antiquity of this and all of these connections, in Genesis chapter 10 and verse 8, and Cush begat Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. And Cush was the father of the Ethiopians, and he was black. And in the book Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, he pictures Nimrod as a black man. Now, this could even be
So you remember the flying monkeys, Daryl, in the movie The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, absolutely. Who are the flying monkeys of the present?
Well, they were the griffins to Queen Califia, and Queen Califia is the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, there.
So there they show us right there that the Wicked Witch of the West was I know, they're telling you all the stuff back in 33. Frank Baum wrote the book in, I think, 1894 or something like that, and they made the first color movie, The Wizard of Oz. They put us on our straw mans. They put us out to sea under Admiralty law. So that's when all this began, you know, the whole hiding of it all. And then, you know, so, yeah, it's really, it is fascinating that this whole allegory has been played out. And the controllers that are controlling us, they do things over decades. And they got all the movies that give all the pre-programming like 9/11, you know, the towers coming down with Bruce Willis and all the different things. They tell us what they're going to do, and they say, go ahead and try and stop us. So Queen Califia ruled with the Flying Griffins, and the Flying Griffins were trained to eat male flesh because they knew the white man was trying to conquer the lands.
400-year-old maps depicted California as an island. question everything.
The original seal of California, Queen Califia, it was later replaced with the Roman goddess Minerva to protect the European ability to keep land.
Always remember, family, history is his story, not ours. Queen Califia on Newbie One.
Balboa Park is a 1,200-acre site. It's massive. You have to take a tour bus in order to see the entire thing. Now they tell us these World's Fairs are the reason that all of these insane architectural landmarks are just sitting here, when we all know that these were constructed by the previous civilization and have been here much longer than we are being told. The shape of Balboa Park's land layout is all over the place. It's a complete mess with jagged edges and, it's a perfect square with perfect 90-degree angles? A perfect land cutout, which we have shown before, how they do this with golf courses and zoos, normally to hide something that was or still under this land that they don't want us to see. Oh, and of course, right here, we have a golf course. Wait, there's also a zoo here? Of course there is. The San Diego Zoo is also located here. So we get both, the zoo and a massive golf course in this perfect 90-degree cutout here in one shot. Incredible. The things that they can hide under a golf course or a zoo are unimaginable by dumping dirt on top of the previous civilization structures, and nobody's questioning it ever again. And a bird park up here, in case you're interested in that. It's very nice of them. Okay, so we're given a list of museums that are located within this massive layout. 16 of them. We get 17 gardens and 20 attractions and venues. I'm gonna show you guys inside the zoo and see what's going on there. But first I wanna show you what these buildings look like, so we're all on the same page, that none of these buildings are being recreated today, and they last forever, and weren't built for some fair. This one is the San Diego History Center, which is built with perfection, perfect architecture, and isn't going anywhere, where they say they found it in 1928. Balboa Park is also home to the San Diego Museum of Art, which is just mind-blowing that they're trying to tell us that this was built in just 24 months. 100 years ago. Does anyone see their towns getting ready to throw one of these together in just 24 months anytime soon? Since it was so easy back then, 24 months, you'd think we could do it now. Let me know in the comments, please. I've been checking for years, but I haven't seen any plans in my town getting ready to knock one of these out. And I'll tell you what, with our evolving and advancing skills, all of our tax dollars, you would think we could get one of these done somewhere in the world. But of course, we get the excuse that these 18 and early 1900s people, they just worked harder than us. They're so much more dedicated. When Donkeys Incorporated put their chisels to work, they didn't stop for anything. Did they need food or water? Heck no. They got the job done by moonlight and did whatever it took. No training? No problem 150 years ago. Well, we are just lazy. We are distracted. We spend too much time playing video games. Wait, this is ridiculous? Yeah. Oh, and we fully trust them that they have pieces that are from 7,000 years ago in this museum. In the year -5,000. Not -5,001. Not -4,999. But yes, Exactly negative 5,000. Incredible. And they're just on it when it comes to those negative 5,000 people, but can't give us any construction details from the last 100 years, which is completely acceptable. No. We have seen William Templeton Johnson pinned as the architect for the last two buildings. So we definitely know that there's something up with this guy, especially when he's out here winning the design competitions for palaces, which we have seen so many times, that there was no shortage of master architects 100 years ago, even 200 years ago. They were all able to supposedly get these drawings together. Everybody in the 1800s and early 1900s were just able to supposedly get these drawings together and get multiple buildings done at the exact same time. This was standard back in the day, supposedly. Beating 6 other architects to design 3 buildings. Of course he was. Okay, so at this point we know there is something major wrong with the narrative. And I want to show you some of the things that I found. Right when we walked in and saw this structure, the whole thing in Balboa Park was set up like a town of an advanced civilization. You had the buildings and you have this stage where there would have been performances. The problem is that it looks like it's from ancient Greece, not California, with the Greco-Roman style columns and the detail in the architecture. The fact it stands the test of time, no problem at all. And the fact that it's not even close to the only thing that doesn't fit into the California narrative. So we started walking over into what I like to call, and what it feels like, is the city center, where you have this spot where everything kind of comes together, like a downtown area. And you can, of course, see in the background the main attraction. They call it the Museum of Us now, but it's clearly not a museum, and we'll definitely be getting to that. First, I just want to show you what I was seeing up close. And I know I've said this before, but please keep this in mind when you see this. Ask yourself, how many times have you seen any town construct one of these in our entire lifetimes? It is so important to ask yourself this, because this destroys the evolving and advancing evolution lie that we have all been told. This is clearly created by an extremely advanced society, people that were here before our timeline, and they fully understood what they were doing. If this was just a mold, could you imagine the size of the mold going all the way up the face of this building? It would be something that would blow our minds today. This is in California, a place that in this same episode, we were shown that they were living in sheds, yet at the exact same time, told that they were creating this masterpiece. It's incredible. Now remember, this is all right next to each other. All of these buildings are like 30 feet away from each other. So here we have the Casa de Balboa, or at least this is what they're telling us it's called now, because of course in the last 100 years, they've already changed its name 5 times. First being called the Commerce and Industries Building, then the Canadian Building, and then the Palace of Better Housing, and then it's called the Electric Building, and now it's the Casa de Balboa. And this all proves one massive thing that we can remember and look back on for the first 54 episodes, and look forward to in the future episodes. And this is that they are 100% writing names on these buildings and messing with them to fit their narrative, where the new name is now engraved on the side, when we don't see the Electric Building engraved on the side, even though that was one of its names. So this obviously proves a lot. This shows that we can be 99% sure that they have changed the names to every single one of these buildings here in Balboa Park. And let's be honest, most likely all over the world, meaning that someone following the mainstream history would have zero idea of what any of these buildings were ever truly created for, which is exactly what they want. In my opinion, these buildings are from the previous civilization, and this is so clear at this point. The detail on these columns are on nearly every single one of these buildings. We have perfect grapes sculpted onto these pillars, with leaves intertwined into it. Not a single mistake all the way up. And you go inside, and we have this courtyard with arches all the way around the whole building on multiple floors. Everything was just perfect, and honestly, it all looked brand new. Which, if our current civilization built this, there is no way that it would look like it was constructed 2 weeks ago. We would have had to restore this place like 15 times. Look at our roads as an example. They last 10 months. And then we need to take 5 years to repair them again. Here we have yet another building that looks like it was chiseled by the gods. We have 2 balconies built into the front of this thing. We have an incredible window in the middle. The detail is mind-blowing. If anyone has the chance to go here and see all of these buildings in person, I highly suggest doing that, with possibly the biggest giveaway that these buildings are from the old world and built by a much more advanced civilization that was wiped out and erased from the history books and completely taken out of our timeline. When we zoom in on the front of this building, right above the sign that reads its new name, Casa del Prado, you can see that this building had something written on it that we're not allowed to see today. This section right here was a plate. It was a stamp that told us the true narrative of this building, in my opinion. And they have clearly covered it up and scratched it out so that the building now fits their new timeline and their new narrative. And when you know what to look for, you understand what is going on with these buildings. You know that this is the kind of stuff to look for. It's something that we were blind to before, and now it is so clear. And once you know, you know. You don't go back to not knowing. Now, as we kept going deeper into this place, there was just more and more incredible buildings. You have this fountain, and right next to it is the San Diego Natural History Museum, where we have the oldest scientific institution in Southern California, and the second oldest west of the Mississippi River, where we are, of course, told that it was found on October 9th, 1874. They tell us that they moved from building to building, repurposing buildings. The museum even occupied 3 different buildings at one time. But none of them, of course, were up to their standards in 1917. So they moved again that same year. But in 1920, they wanted to move yet again to the Foreign Arts Building, where they kept remodeling. And when I say remodeling, I mean destroying. Because we all know that remodeling or restoration really means destruction. So they're all done destroying that building. So on to the next one, of course. The Canadian building was the next one on the list for a good destruction project. Got this done in 1922. And we all know we can't go the whole episode without the fire story. So in 1925, a nearby fire of course raised concerns. They need to throw the fire into the narrative. All over the world. It's just incredible. It's in all of these buildings' narratives. And we have shown this so many times. I'm actually in the middle of counting them all up over all the episodes because I just want to know how many times we have found the fire story. So what do you know? They throw William Templeton Johnson right back into the narrative of yet another one of these old world buildings, using the same character to explain away these structures that do not fit into our current timeline. So 1932, they tell Templeton to get this job done, to build a building that lasts forever. Get it done. And make sure to give us 0 information about the actual construction process. How many men? Where are the materials coming from? 1932, they hire him, right in the middle of the Great Depression. So we can't leave that out. But of course, that's not going to stop William the Great. He gets this place done in the beginning of 1933, January, meaning from some point in 1932 to January 1933, this thing is done. During the Great Depression, and it's here forever. I'll be the one to say it. That story is logistically impossible. We have, in my opinion, clear proof in episode 41 that this is complete nonsense. And a construction project like this would never get done in less than a year during this time period, let alone in 2024. So they go through like 10 buildings, destroying all of them and saying they're restoration projects, and then whip this masterpiece together in a year. It must have been nice back then. Unbelievable. I also mentioned that we went to the San Diego Zoo, which is also located on this site. And it was honestly the weirdest zoo I've ever been to in my life. This was definitely the coolest one overall, if you're just a fan of zoos, because you're just able to be right next to the animals, obviously in a safe way. But you would go down like 200 feet to see all these animals, down a bunch of steps. This is in my opinion and just my thoughts on it. but it felt like it was all built on top of a structure, and they were just putting these animals all around it, because the rest of the area was relatively flat. From all of my research and everything that we know about zoos and golf courses, hiding old world buildings and more, this is just my personal take on it. If anyone's ever been there, you'll know what I mean. But it was really cool. We were able to see the building that they now call the Museum of Us. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. See ya.
OMG. Queen Califia was the queen of the Amazons. The state of California is named after her, and the seal of the state of California bears her image. Can you see it? The superhero character Wonder Woman is based off her character, and they were trying to hide the identity of the true rulership of the Americas, which was dark people. If Queen Califia were a myth, they would not have to put her image on the seal of the state of California. Remember the old Greek proverb? It is in the mythical that we have the truth. More evidence of her rulership is the fact that California used to be an island. Legend says that she ruled over an island. The state of California used to be an island, and the Gulf of California used to be the Red Sea. So the rewriters of real history have painted Queen Califia as an Albion, Wonder Woman, when the whole time Queen Califia really is a Moor. Damn.
Why do I keep my mind on you all the time? And I don't even know you. Why do I feel this way? Thinking about you every day. And I don't even know you. Take me